here at the sheriff's office. And here today to go meet a friend. It's got some information, Paul White. He's been on the channel before. Excuse me. And don't know if you can see it, but it's a little bit snowy here today. Snow is falling, supposedly supposed to stick later. We'll see what happens. But anyways, it's been a busy last couple of weeks. I've got multiple lawsuits I'm working on. One against the library and their employees. But what's happened in the last week or so, for those of you that have watched the channel, I started doing this because, well, I have a towing business. So I got tow trucks and we tow cars, and the government decided they were going to start making fake laws and enforcing them. And they've been kind of riding me for the last couple of years. A couple of years ago they issued $21,000 in citation to me, and got an attorney working on that because it's for a corporation, so I need an attorney to represent corporations here in Nevada. And I got all the documents that show, or not all the documents, a lot of them that show where they've made up these fake laws. And the goal of the fake laws, according to the chief of the Nevada DMV Police Department, you gotta ask yourself, why do we need to, let me change some things around here. Bear with me just a second. Try to get this a little better here for us. That might be a little bit better. So you got to ask yourself, why does the Nevada DMV need a police department? Why do they need guys with guns and badges? Pretty much all that they do is they go around and harass small businesses and make up these fake laws and say what you're doing wrong. Then you ask them where in the law does it say that this is what it is, and then they don't tell you any of this stuff. So, sounds like Paul's over there, but I'll go into more of that story here in a little bit. Good morning. Let me flip you around there.
This makes a pretty good backdrop. Inside.
Yeah, that's what I was just doing. I was talking. We're live right now.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone listening. Got a great show coming here. A great blurb.
Yeah, so I was up over here because that was where the, let's see here. So we'll turn this around right here.
Okay.
And then we got the sheriff's sign in the background.
Perfect.
You know, it's all about following the law, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But we wouldn't want to do that around
See
here.
this is, then I'll cut my phone off.
So yeah, that puts you right in the frame.
Hey, Teddy, we're just getting ready to go live on the video. I'll call you in just a few. Yeah, no, I hit it mistakenly. I'm sorry.
Anyways, let's get it going, so just talk.
Okay.
All right.
Well, good morning. We've got some great stuff you want to hear just for a few minutes. I'm Paul White with Education Crusade. What exactly do? We have three goals. Expose problems in the community that are going on, offer proven solutions for them, and demand better leadership, morally stronger leadership. That really applies to what we're going to talk about today. So we're out here at the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. Our elected sheriff is Darren Balaam. And why are we talking about them today? Well, because the sheriff's activity is weaker and more politicized than it should be. It's an elected office, but they shouldn't run it that way. If you listen to the sheriff, some of the things I'll share, he sounds much more like a liberal left-leaning politician than he does a nonpartisan head law enforcement officer. Specifically, the issue is homelessness and everything connected with it. So the CARES campus, even though it's in the middle of Reno, it still is county, apparently, the way they district the property. And so the sheriffs have control over this, which makes you wonder, why are they not doing more with a campus with, I don't know, better part of 1,000 people on it, where there are, especially in the dorms, what they call the tent, there are tons of lethal weapons in there all the time. When we've gone there undercover, we've seen pistols, machetes, staff selling fentanyl to clients. This is well known by everybody who works there. Why isn't the sheriff involved in digging this out and not letting this continue? Ideally, these people are trying to get better. The CARES campus itself is a totally dysfunctional, red-hot mess, they say. But the sheriff should be on this. There's robberies there. You compare this of each other. You compare this with like the Gospel Mission or Victory Outreach, who run home programs. They have rules, they enforce them. CARES campus does not. There's a lot of reasons why. The main one is the restrictions on federal funds, but that's another day. Question is, sheriff's people have jurisdiction over that, and they're not exercising it. It's not making any difference at all. It's getting worse. Second thing that came up, they've recently passed another ban on public camping, basically to keep the homeless from illegally camping on the river and elsewhere. And it came down, they had it because they pollute the drinking water supply. They use these illegal camps to sell and make drugs, to traffic women, to store the things they steal, etc. But it's not getting done. So the sheriff needs to tighten it up on the CARES campus. It's overrunning downtown Reno. And they always say, well, we just have the campus. Yes, but when they're not making the campus work, all these homeless criminals just pour out into downtown Reno and are ruining it. Up there on the Lockwood exit going east out of Reno on the 80, that area also is the sheriff's, and they moved, there was a huge homeless camp out there that was allowed there for months and months, and eventually they moved it. Apparently it just moved across the freeway. We're not sure whose jurisdiction it is. Again, with transparency, the sheriff needs to be telling the public, you've seen that big homeless camp out there, we got it out of there, they're trying to play games, move across the road, we're going to get them. We don't hear a word from him. Speak up, sheriff. Biggest problem, Balaam's been repeatedly quoted, and including recently in the RGJ, the Reno Gazette Journal, that quote, you can't arrest your way out of homelessness. When people ask him, well, why don't you arrest these guys rather than just move them? Well, it's a catchy little phrase. You can't arrest your way out of homelessness. It's right and it's not true. It works pretty well with murder, rape, kidnapping, home invasions. Doesn't perfectly get rid of all of it, but it certainly keeps it to a manageable level, and it would do with the homeless also if they would enforce it. Sheriff's got to remember, constitutionally, law enforcement would be the executive branch. They're just to enforce the laws. The sheriff's not there to interpret the laws. That's the judicial. And that's what he's doing when he's refusing to arrest all these guys who are breaking the law with homeless-related issues. We have homelessness because we don't enforce the law. Period. You can get in the car and drive 5 minutes out of this parking lot here at the sheriff's department, and you'll see all kinds of illegal homeless campers right on Virginia Street. You'll see them parked in behind and things. Why is this being allowed? You've got tons of police cars here that can go out there and cite them, bring them into court. It's not being done. With shopping carts, not so much here in the county, but other out here in the rural, but in other more places closer to town that are still the sheriff's department. All you've got to do is go to the Walmart, get a statement, say if you see any of our carts anywhere off of property, they're stolen, and we want them returned, we want the person cited, go to court on them. They don't do that. And so if they would simply make it illegal to steal a shopping cart and fill it with flotsam and be able to make yourself a mobile vagrant, they would stop. This is one thing the sheriff could do. We've got to acknowledge that what we're doing with the homeless has not worked. In the year 2000, 2017. In 2017, we had 80 homeless people in the county. That was the count. In 2024, that count had jumped 2,000% to over 2,000. Now, it's projected on that same rise that by 2031, barely 6-7 years from now, our projected homeless pop would be a minimum of 32,000. That's never going to work. That's never going to work. It would shut down the community. And why aren't they arrested? I mean, it's just ridiculous. The homeless are less than 1% of our population. They're 20% or more of our crime. In other words, they're committing crimes 20 times disproportionate to their part of the pop. They're 40% or more of emergency services, which means the other 99%, where they go out there and just pass out from being drunk or often, only because the law is not enforced. So it begs the question, why don't we arrest them? Why, when they go out and spend tens of thousands of tax dollars on clearing homeless camps, why don't they cite them and bring them to jail, or if they're finding outstanding warrants or whatever, bring them in? Well, again, we go back to it comes from the you can't arrest your way out of homelessness. Well, your job is to do it. And for example, in 2000, year 2000 to now, 25 years, the population has increased 50%. Has the jail population, has the jail capacity increased? Has the jail capacity increased 50%? I don't think so. It's at 1,000 right now, the capacity. And why we're not frantically building extended space for a lower security jail that'd be cheaper, that would take in these homeless and vagrants. What good would that do? Well, Grant Denton is like an associate of the CARES campus, and he's well known here in the county. He overcame homelessness, years of it, and drug addiction and crime, and what the kind of previous life that people often struggle to get away from it. And he's been quoted repeatedly as saying, answering the question, how did you get out of homelessness? And he said, I got tired of going to jail. And this is what would happen with our population here. They would get tired of going to jail, and they'd either do one of two things. They'd stop committing crimes, or two, they'd find a community that would put up with it. And either one would be perfectly okay, to be honest. Pardon me. So we need a statement from Sheriff Balaam as far as what is the plan for the jail. What is the plan for so that there's not an issue of being able to fit these people in there. And you hear them say, well, it's cheaper to put them in the tent than it is to arrest them. No, it's really not. Because if you're in the tent, you're coming and going, and if you've got a program that works, I mean, if they're in the jail, they're not there constantly. They do their 30, 60, 90 days, and they're gone. And they do a couple of those, and they're not going to want to stay. Whereas if you go into the CARES camps that we're spending tens of millions on, there's people that have been in there 3, 4, going on 5 years, And so it's not cheaper, and plus the damage it does all these right across the spectrum in a community does not save anything. What could it do? What kind of solutions could the sheriff do besides what we mentioned? One thing he could do is lean on DA Chris Hicks to prosecute more of these cases like the felonies many of them are. It's a soft office, ridiculously let people plea bargain down to nothing. The sheriff could talk with Hicks and say, look, we need to prosecute more of this. And if Hicks won't do it, go public and tell us, and the public could lean on the DA. These guys don't do it. They're not in there to be buddies with each other, these police chiefs. And I'll say, except for Sparks. Sparks has got a great police chief and a great mayor. And you don't see these issues over there. The courts also need the sheriff needs to lean on the judges in the judicial system, like this unconstitutional homeless court, aka community court, run by Judge Stevens, that absolutely just gives ridiculous little childlike punishments to these vagrants when they get brought into him. Then the chiefs need to work with RPD. They need to have a big community meeting. The three Sparks chief, Reno chief, Vance, Sheriff Balaam, and come on television, come on the media and say, we got to address homelessness. Here's our plan. Here's what we're doing. When have we ever seen this? Never. And they can and they need to. Final suggestion for the sheriff would be, the political winds have shifted with Trump's election, thank God. And the DEI thing is realized as a total failure. This woke movement is a failure. The last time I was here in this parking lot was just a few years ago. We had funding and a great idea for a program that would do some preventive work with keeping juveniles out of the criminal lifestyle. And we came to the sheriff, involved work, interacting with, getting a positive influence, law enforcement deputies doing things with the kids and things like this. I won't bore you with it, but it was a great idea. We came out here. Sheriff Balaam said he'd like to talk about it, which he did for about 30 seconds. Then he turned us over to his, I don't even know what position she'd have. I'm guessing some kind of community thing. No question, a DEI hire and a DEI perspective. And her interest was not so much, in fact, little or nothing about what it could do for the kids. Her interest was, well, were we going to be represented with a black, brown, white, etc. one to make sure that we were real diverse? I said, we're going to make real sure that we have people that want to be in it and it will be offered to everyone. What they do with it is up to them. And she put so many restrictions on it, on the diversity requirements, that it became impractical to try to pursue it, and so it went away. And we never heard from Sheriff Balaam about it, and they lost a good program. So if you heard anything here that strikes a chord with you, and hopefully you did, please watch it, turn people to, we're able to do this thanks Drew Rebar and Auditing Reno 911. Auditing Reno 911. It's a YouTube channel. You can be watching it live like this, or you can go into their archive and pull it out. Please watch it, share it. Contact us at Education Crusade, educationcrusade.org, 685-8200, 685-8200, and we will answer questions, show you how to get involved, tell you more about it. Thanks for listening and watching.
There you go, Paul. Okay, everybody, appreciate tuning in. Thanks very much. I'm going to turn off the live feed, and we'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day. If you like this stuff, push the like button, hit the dinger, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks much.
How many minutes was that?
Let me push the button here.